Hello to you all, and thank you very much for joining us at this webinar. My name is Dori Exterman, and I'm the CTO of IncrediBuild. In this webinar, I'd like to present to you the new IncrediBuild Enterprise Edition. This new IncrediBuild Edition wasn't possible without the effort of our R&D and the high engagement from our design partners who helped us define the needs coming from enterprise organizations and environments with very large IncrediBuild deployment. So thank you all for making this happen. So without further ado, let's delve in. First of all, I'd like to quickly discuss the areas in which IncrediBuild Enterprise Edition is addressing and focusing on. So these are the main places where we've seen requirements coming from the field, especially, as I said, from enterprise and large IncrediBuild deployments. Mostly around continuous integration, continuous delivery, and DevOps integration with these kind of common tools and cycles that are part of this new way of working. A lot of features around IT and manageability of large IncrediBuild deployments, and things around reporting and big data analytics. As you probably can understand, IncrediBuild generates a huge amount of data that we can make use of in order to help you build better and analyze better and get more insights out of the things that you are doing in your daily work with IncrediBuild. I'm going to focus on the current version of IncrediBuild, which is the Enterprise Edition. It's already available for you to work with. But just before delving in, I'd like to stress that this is just the first version. We have tons of new features coming up and new requests from the fields. And later on, I'll further discuss that and will invite you to be part of our design partners and help us produce an even better and more features and things that will help you work better with IncrediBuild in your daily efforts. I decided to start with one of the, I think, main features of IncrediBuild. It took us a lot of effort to provide that, and that's the ability to execute concurrent IncrediBuild executions. So essentially, now with the IncrediBuild Enterprise Edition, build nodes, and when I'm saying build nodes, I mean, for example, TFS agents or Jenkins slaves can run multiple IncrediBuild commands in parallel. So this can be either multiple solutions running in parallel, running both testing and code analysis in parallel. If you're a game developer, you'll be able to run both your shader, texture compressions, and other stuff in parallel on the same initiator machine. This means that your performance can be much better, because instead of running these jobs in a sequential manner, you can now run them in parallel. And as a result of that, also optimize your IncrediBuild infrastructure utilization. Due to the fact that a build node run multiple builds, it can use much more helpers in parallel than it could before. So this is one aspect. So just take your own build script that you have right now, and anything that you executed with IncrediBuild in a sequential manner. If you have two solutions, for example, especially in C#, when we are speaking about microservices architecture, you usually have a lot of solutions that can compile in parallel. You can now run these steps in parallel with IncrediBuild, utilizing your farm much better and get better performance results for that. So not only that your build nodes can now execute the tasks, the IncrediBuild task in your build scripts in parallel, they can also, a single build node can now serve multiple developers simultaneously. So if till now any build node was able to only service one build execution, now every build node can serve as many build execution as your hardware and resources allow you to do that. Once you have the IncrediBuild Enterprise Edition, you can see and determine the minimum requirements to execute each build as part of this concurrent build execution. All the features that I'm going to discuss right now are, once you have the IncrediBuild Enterprise Edition, will be available for every agent that is connected to your IncrediBuild coordinator. So if we are speaking about concurrent IncrediBuild execution, this means that not only your build nodes will have this ability, but also every developer, tester, graphic designer, an analyst, or anyone else that uses IncrediBuild as part of your infrastructure will be able to run concurrent IncrediBuild commands. In the finance district, for example, I know that there was a request to run multiple calculations in parallel, different models. In the gaming industry, it's about running shaders in parallel to running texture compression or lighting. And that's relevant for any kind of dev. Before we'll show that, let's just go to the other side, because these two features are connected together. One other feature that we added is the ability to break a single helper to service multiple builds coming from the same initiator. So if you had your build node now running multiple builds, multiple IncrediBuild commands in parallel, and you have a bunch of 64 core helpers, these helpers will now be able to split their cores between the multiple builds you're running. And not only that, your helpers will be able to also serve multiple initiators. So not only build nodes, but also multiple developers. So if you have helpers with 64 or 40 core machines, they'll be able to split their cores between multiple initiators, multiple developers, or build nodes. Another thing that we added that relates to that is the ability to see in your build monitor everything that's going on your helper machine, similar to the graphs that we offer right now for the initiator. Let's take a break from the presentation and see this as it runs. So I'll start with the multiple builds. And let me show it to you in a very, very nice environment, which is the public cloud. We are now looking at Azure. And in Azure, as you can see, I have a few machines running. This is my initiator, and I can go into that. This could be either, now we are looking at a virtual machine in Azure, in the public cloud, with IncrediBuild installed on, and we have already some helper provisioned from the same public cloud in Azure, but I can run this initiator from Azure, or I can run it from my local host. It will be the same. The only difference will be a bit of latency due to the going over the WAN instead of the LAN, but from our experiments, this is a very minor latency that doesn't impact performance that much if you're in the same region as your cloud infrastructure. And what I want to show here, if we take a look at this one, this is run all.bat, and you can see that we execute two things in parallel. One is unit testing, IncrediBuild accelerating G-test execution, and the other one is IncrediBuild accelerating visual and code analysis. So this is not even compilations. As most of you probably know, IncrediBuild is a generic infrastructure that can allow you to accelerate almost any type of multi-process execution. So here we are looking at unit testing and dynamic code analysis. And once we start each of these, I can show you that the only thing that these are doing is running a build console command. This one runs this build console command, and the other one is running the IB console. It's the dev tools running the visual and code analysis. But the same thing can also be used if you have multiple instances of Visual Studio. For example, you can run both two compilations in parallel. So I'll do run all. As you can see, two command lines were being executed, and I can see one of the build monitors. This is the G-test. I can see all my tests running in parallel. And if I'll go to the IncrediBuild build history here, I'll be able to see that both builds were being executed in parallel to each other. So both the code analysis and the G-test were executed in parallel. And if I open both build monitors, you can see that my farm utilization was highly optimized. So I used all my agents because I had enough tasks to use all of them. So this is to show the concurrent IncrediBuild command execution. The next thing we discussed after the concurrent execution was the ability of the helpers to serve more cores, and the nice addition we had to the IncrediBuild visualization. And I'll open a build monitor in a minute to show it to you. Essentially, you can see all the graphs in the helper machines, and I'll show it to you in a minute. But let's continue. And this is also related to the public cloud. One of the things that we can see a lot in enterprise organizations and organizations that implement DevOps and continuous integration is that there is a very good practice of provisioning virtual machines. This can be either in a private cloud environment, if, for example, in OpenStack, or the public cloud, whether it's Azure, AWS, Google Cloud. Essentially, IncrediBuild is agnostic to the public cloud environment you're running on, and as long as you can provision virtual machines. So in this environment, usually what's going, the way that users are working is that they provision a virtual machine on demand, usually as part of their continuous integration. It can be either helper machines, but in most cases we've seen it's actually initiator machines, build agents. And once the build is done and finished, this virtual machine is usually being destroyed. Till now with IncrediBuild, if you did that, the license that was automatically allocated to your virtual machine remained allocated, and you needed to go to the IncrediBuild coordinator monitor and manually deallocate the license. With IncrediBuild Enterprise Edition and with the assistance of our design partners, we were able to find a way to do that in a seamless manner. So we developed a new feature as part of the IncrediBuild setup that allow you to install IncrediBuild on an image that will be used to automatically provision virtual machines that you are planning to destroy later on, and you'd like the IncrediBuild license allocated to them returned to the pool. So in order to do that, we introduced a new option in the IncrediBuild setup. As you can see here, let me go to the actual full screen presentation. You can see that we have a new option saying create a single-use virtual machine image as part of this setup. This is how you're going to install IncrediBuild on an image before you provision virtual machines out of this image. Once you'll install IncrediBuild this way, then and a VM will be provisioned from this image. Once this VM will communicate with the coordinator the first time, the coordinator will know that this image is an image that is a virtual machine that you are going to deprovision later on. It will automatically allocate a license to that virtual machine. And once you destroy this virtual machine and it will become offline, the IncrediBuild coordinator will automatically release the license that was allocated to this virtual machine back to the pool. If you take a look at this print screen, you could see that in the coordinator setting of the IncrediBuild Enterprise Edition, you can tell the IncrediBuild coordinator how long is the threshold, the time threshold that the coordinator needs to wait until he releases the license of this virtual machine back to the pool. I just want to stress out in this feature that this feature is only intended in scenarios where you provision virtual machine and then destroy them, not in scenarios where you provision virtual machine and then hibernate them and use them again. So once this virtual machine is destroyed, the coordinator will not allow you to use this specific virtual machine, but will allow you to provision additional virtual machine from the same image. So this is a very, very nice addition to the automation and manageability of your IncrediBuild infrastructure. We offer another feature as part of that, but this one is only for helpers. And this one is a command line tool that allows you to unsubscribe a helper agent from the coordinator, which means that once you do that, the core package assigned to this agent will automatically be released to the IncrediBuild tool. This is only feasible for helpers, this specific feature, not the other one that I just discussed, because if we'll allow that to also apply to initiator machine, it will allow users to potentially violate the way that IncrediBuild license works. So in most cases, we'll probably want to work with the first feature I just showed you and automate the way that you provision and deprovision machines, either in on-prem cloud or in the public cloud. Another thing is our extensions to the various continuous integration, continuous delivery tools. So with the IncrediBuild Enterprise, we released an extension for Jenkins, TFS, on-prem, Visual Studio Team Services, and the TeamCity extension is coming up soon. These extensions more or less behave in the same manner. Let me show you how it looks like in Visual Studio Team Services. So here, this is Visual Studio Team Services for those of you who don't know this tool from Microsoft. This is my project. I can go to the build and release, and I have here the build definition. In Jenkins, it's very similar to the build script that you're working with. And here I can add steps, custom build steps to my build script. If once it refreshes, you can see that we have an IncrediBuild extension installed already on my Visual Studio Team Services account. You can find that in the Visual Studio Team Services and TFS store, and download it and install it as part to your Visual Studio Team Services or TFS. If you'd like to have Jenkins, everything is available. You can contact us and we'll provide you these extensions. There is a problem with my refresh. This is usually the problem with live demos. We'll give it one more minute. Essentially, these extensions allow you to simplify the way that you work when invoking IncrediBuild as part of your continuous integration executions. Luckily for me, I already had an extension, a task here. So you simply add a task. We couldn't see that, but you'll believe me. I'll jump to that in a minute again to see if it refreshed already. But essentially, this is one of the tasks. We offer 3 tasks in each of these extensions. One for IncrediBuild Build Console for Visual Studio. The other one is for Make and other build tools that we support. IncrediBuild supports 17, more or less 17 build tools, Make, Jam, WAF, Ninja, etc. And for dev tools to allow you to accelerate any kind of multi-process execution. So once we add this step to our build script, you can see that you can simply fill very easily all the properties that IncrediBuild expects you to have. These are the things that are required, but you have a lot of other things you can provide IncrediBuild with to this extension. Behind the scene, once you provide all this, IncrediBuild will construct the build command and will execute it. Due to the fact that you have now the ability to run multiple builds in parallel, let's see if I can get this to refresh. Here, you can see all these 3 IncrediBuild commands. So now that I can run multiple builds in parallel, essentially I can drag some of them and I can add them and run different solution file in parallel in my build nodes. This is the same kind of integration you can expect in Jenkins, in TeamCity, and TFS on-prem. We are in our roadmap, we have a lot of very cool features to add to that, including visualization, although even today you can see the build monitor and build visualizations on these machines. But we are going to add some very cool features and integration with additional tools to that. So I have a question here. I'll try to answer the questions that are relevant. We have the question was whether we have an extension for TFS on-prem as well, and the answer is yes. You can use it on TFS on-prem as well, and it works very, very nice. Let's continue. So this is the plugins for continuous integration, continuous delivery, which is very, very relevant and very common today. Another thing that we have, and is I think that it's been a long time that enterprise users and users who have a lot of IncrediBuild agents requested, is the ability to have a centralized dashboard in which they can go over and understand everything that's going on in their IncrediBuild infrastructure, whether it's related to a role as a build manager or release automation manager that want to see the builds that were executed, how efficient were the build servers, failures, etc., or the IT infrastructure or DevOps that want to see the utilization of the IncrediBuild infrastructure, whether there are gaps or anomalies or other things. And we've achieved that. And let me show it to you live. So once you install IncrediBuild Enterprise Edition, IncrediBuild will automatically report everything that's going on to the IncrediBuild coordinator. So I think that the best area to start with is with the builds. So with the build, you could see again, live demos, but with the builds, you can see everything that was executed in your IncrediBuild infrastructure. So this is the IncrediBuild dashboard. This is on the IncrediBuild coordinator, but essentially, unless you'll block it, anyone can access this dashboard from everywhere. You can also use your mobile or other devices. As long as you can browse, you can see that. So this is the IncrediBuild dashboard. And we have a few pages, and we'll now examine the page that is mostly relevant for the build manager or the team leader or dev manager in order to review the builds that were executed with IncrediBuild. So as you can see, we have a few KPIs here, the number of builds that were executed, their status, average build duration, distribution, etc. I can choose any time frame I'd like to see. I can see what happened today in our infrastructure. This is live data from the IncrediBuild regression environment in which we execute a lot of builds all the time. And you can go over these KPIs, you can delve into this, and you can also filter these results. So for example, if I'm only interested in rebuilds, I can choose this. I can see what was the distribution ratio for rebuild or for other executions that I have, and a lot of additional information. So if you take a look at the graph here, you can see if here we saw the aggregation for the entire time frame that we selected, which now was all the thing that I have in my database. Here I can see it's divided on the time frame scale, and the default is to see the successful versus failed builds. So this is what I see in the upper graph, and here in the lower graph, I can see the amount of distribution I have in this specific time frame. So let's go here, for example. I see that I executed a lot of builds. I can zoom in, and at this point, I have 267 successful builds at January 30 at 4 o'clock, and I can see down here that the distribution was 72%. This means that 72% of my processing power was executed instead of the local initiator, they were executed remotely on a helper machine. This is very good utilization of the IncrediBuild infrastructure. So this is just one thing that you can see, successful versus failed. I think that one of the interesting things to stress up here is that one of the key values that IncrediBuild provides you is not only the ability to accelerate your successful build, is also to fail much faster. If you fail much faster, you'll get much better even productivity than if you succeed much faster, because you usually fail more than you succeed. So also in unsuccessful builds, we can see the distribution is really great and we achieve a very good performance. I can also break that into build types and see how many of my builds are cleans, rebuilds, incremental builds, etc. Unknown is for any other thing that's not Visual Studio compilation, if it's DevTools or Makes or other executions that you are running with IncrediBuild. We've added some additional information we thought was meaningful to our customers along with our design partner. For example, you can see the top initiator agents, which are all this page essentially is only for initiators because these are the ones that actually initiate builds and achieve these results. So we can see the top initiator agents, the initiators that spent most time building. We can see the builds that were executed, how many succeeded, failed. We can see hints related to that. I can choose more agents if I like. We can see the bottom initiators, the ones that performed less. And also we can take a look at the longest builds that I have and examine this, and the top distributed builds if you want to see where we were able to achieve the best performance out of IncrediBuild. We know that our customers are usually running more than a single product. So it's not only for a specific, if you want to see and filter this according to products, we allow you to configure products after you executed your build. And the way to do that is to go to configuration, and we are now in agents, but we will want to configure a product. For example, I have a product here, I'll delete it and redo it with you. So I have Audacity builds. Audacity is a product you have in your company, for example. So I'll name it Audacity. And I'll just create a product. So I just name the product, I save it, and now there are two ways I can create this product. I can go here and see all the commands that were executed in my IncrediBuild infrastructure and choose the commands, the command lines that are relevant to my product. Another thing that I can do, I can add textual rules. For example, I can come here, Audacity text, and say that every time that the build command has the text Audacity, it means that this build command is part of the Audacity product. I can add additional rules, whether to include or not include something in the command. I'll save this, and now I have a new product defined in my dashboard. And if I go here to the builds, again, I could filter all these results that I've just seen with this product. So I want to say, listen, I'm only interested in Audacity builds. And as you can see, Audacity distributes better than the average build. And you can see all the information here only on the various Audacity products. As you can see, there are multiple build commands with this product. Another thing that you probably want to have as a build manager, for example, is to only include the machines which are part of your continuous integration environment and not the developer machine, for example. So same thing as product, you can define groups of machines. If we'll go back to the configuration, to agents, you can see that I can define agent groups. So this is a group I already defined. If I go and edit that, I can either use rules very similar to what we've seen with the product, or I can see all the agents that I have connected to my IncrediBuild infrastructure and associate agents with this group. And then if I go back to the build page, I'll be able to filter all these results not only according to the product, but also according to the groups of agents that I just defined. So I can go here and say my DevOps environment and see all the builds that were executed. In this scenario, Audacity was only executed on my DevOps environment. Another thing that I want to show before answering additional questions is the agents. So this was the builds tab. Another thing that I didn't show is that you have all the build commands here, and you can watch them. And we have a very cool feature that we've added here just to provide you some additional mode of analyzing your data. So we have analysis mode. You can go here and essentially you have a full-blown grid that you have all the data and you can cut the data. So for example, I can group build commands, I can aggregate values, I can show specific columns or not, I can filter text, I can do many different things here. I can also export this to Excel and then further analyze my data or generate graphs out of it. I can filter my data. I can go here and say, listen, not only group it by groups, but according to my build command, also group it according to status, and only show me the initiators that are this specific initiator, or only show me the builds that were distributed less than 20%. Okay, so these are things that I can do, and then I can take a look at my aggregated data and further examine where I want to improve and gather some insights around this. So this is both for builds and for the agents page. I'm going to show you right now. So in the agent page, we've tried to give you everything that you need to know in order to understand the utilization of your IncrediBuild infrastructure. So first thing is that you have all these KPIs. You can see the execution, the time of execution, the average cores that were utilized, etc. One of the things that we've added, which was difficult to add, is the ability to understand what was the time that was saved by IncrediBuild in order for you to be able to better understand the ROI that you get out of the product. I just want to emphasize that we've been very conservative with our calculation here. And once you further examine this, and it will be easier for you to examine it while you go to 12 hours or 24 hours time frame, you'll see that the value is actually probably much more than what we see here. So we try to be as much conservative as possible without losing connection with reality. And also we multiply this by $40. You can later on change it in order to understand the cost that was saved. So you can expect similar things that I showed in the builds here as well. This is the processing time as initiator or as helper in time frame. If I go, of course, I can only choose the groups. I can filter by the group and only see the utilization of the machines that I'm interested in. If I'm just interested in my DevOps environment, I can see the time saved per day. So here I can see that I had a lot of time saved. I can see gaps and understand where can I turn off machine. I can understand whether there are machines that are inefficient, whether there are time frame that are inefficient. I can go inside a time frame and look at the hourly basis aggregation and see maybe there are duration in the day that I can deprovision machines and more. I cannot go in details to all the things that we offer here. Again, we have some matrices about the top agent utilization, which are the agents that were utilized the most, which were the agents that were used the most as helpers, what's the processing power that the average cores utilized of the machines. And another thing that we offered here is the ability to go into each machine here that you can see. Let's take a machine that was working nicely as an initiator. It will be probably the machine from the farm. I can see it here. It's Batman, our Batman machine. And I can see the graphs that I was able to see before. I can see it now for a specific machine. So how much time was saved for a specific machine? I can choose a developer machine and understand how much time did I save for a developer, etc., and the core used, and more. We also have an overview page to show you what's going on, farm infrastructure, how is your IncrediBuild license breakdown, license allocation packages, some overview of the last week. I can see the time saved on the last week. I can see the builds. I can choose each of these KPIs and see a graph, a time graph representing this KPI as an overview. Unfortunately, the time is running out for me, so I'll just see if there is a question I can answer and show you a few additional slides. Any plans to show data and Visual Studio project within a solution, like in the project sub of IncrediBuild Monitor? So currently, from the dashboard, we can't show you yet visualizations, the build monitor, such as the build monitor of specific projects. Of course, you can go and locate this build monitor. There are two things we're planning to do. First is to allow you to add automatically build monitors to your IncrediBuild database. Everything you see here behind, there is a Postgres database. So we are going to attach, allow you to attach IBMONs to the database and then see them. Later on, we are actually looking at providing you something similar to what we currently have in the IncrediBuild for Linux product. For those of you who don't know, we have an IncrediBuild product for Linux as well. And there, the build visualization is based on the database, and this is what we are aiming to have for the Windows as well, along with the ability for ops and dev to communicate on top of this build visualization. For those of you I wasn't able to answer, I'll check your questions and make sure I'm answering in a different thread. So one last piece of information is that everything is based on an open database. Everything is on the Postgres SQL centralized database. So you can tap into that. You can query information. You can use the store procedures that we've assembled there. Take a look at the data, etc. And we are going to offer some REST API for you to be able to easily integrate if you're using some external tools, such as I know that some of our design partners are using, and they want to access this information, and they'll be able to access the information from the tools that are using inside the IT. So we are going to introduce a very easy REST API for you to gather all this information that I just showed in the dashboard to your internal tools. But if you want to try and investigate it right now, the IncrediBuild PostgreSQL is open for you to use. And I know that you have questions, and I promise to send an email back with an answer or initiate a conversation with each one of you who wants to get some answers for this. Also, feel free to contact us at support@incredibuild.com or sales@incredibuild.com and ask a one-on-one meeting with myself. I'd be more than happy to do that. And once you'll become an IncrediBuild Enterprise user, Enterprise Edition user, we urge you to become a design partner. This is the way for us to make sure that you receive the needs that you want. It really helps us in understanding what's the features that you see as most predominant for your use case. I can tell you that we have a lot of things we are planning to do this year around the Enterprise Edition, more extensions to continuous integration, additional things for IT and for our dashboard. We are going to offer very nice seamless integration with the public cloud. So we are very excited here about all these new things that are coming up. So thank you all for coming. Thank you all for your questions. I'll make sure to answer these later on. And I hope that you'll become part of our Enterprise Edition users. Please feel free. This is not something we publish in our website. So if you'd like to try it out, send us an email to sales@incredibuild.com and ask for an evaluation license and the ability to work with the Enterprise Edition. It's very easy to install. It can work on top of your IncrediBuild existing infrastructure. It's very easy to upgrade your existing IncrediBuild infrastructure to become IncrediBuild Enterprise. It's seamless, and then you'll be able to benefit from all the features that we just saw. So thank you all for coming. I hope to see you in the next webinar. Goodbye.